Today, short stream, we're going to be setting goals. I'm going to show you what really helps me to make progress in such a chaotic world. I've learned to hit the button called chat filter all messages. I wasn't able to see some of your messages before. I want you guys to see my face. So we're here. I'm already hearing people in the 5D coming through. So I have a black and mild, I have an energy drink. And all we're doing right now, maybe I'll answer some of your questions, or if you have problems, I can solve some of your problems and put you back in place to achieve your highest dreams. The crows are not here, coincidentally, but maybe it's because I'm not activated. So we're gonna go, that's where I write down my dreams. Yeah, that's my dreams about content creators that are stealing my style, and then I have to see what they do with it, and when they fail because they don't know how to handle it, I take it back and leave them in the dust. We're setting some goals, guys. I just talked about a couple of dreams I had where I had to steal my power back from content creators that were using it for the wrong reasons. So what helped me in 2020, when I was able to literally shine, like I'd walk down the street and you'd see my skin glisten in light. And I want to get back to that. As terrifying as it is, as much as I've been to jail and been beaten on the street and been targeted and attacked and had to kill people in self-defense for achieving this type of peace of mind, this grace, this power that I used to create songs. Something in my head said sense of entitlement. I don't have a sense of entitlement, but I feel the power, so maybe that was trying to tell me I shouldn't feel like I deserve it. I should be grateful for it. So the first thing that helps me, if I put down on my thing, goals for this week. I have all messages on, so I should be able to see your messages. Goals for this week, so from Saturday to Saturday. The first thing I'm doing for Sunday is 24-hour fast. That will start to eat up all the disease in my system, and it will cause me to have a horrible panic attack because I'll be awake to so much more. My mind will be on 150%. And I'm going to do it. Because what else can you do, right? I want to enjoy life, even if it's pushing past that paranoia to find a higher level of functioning, to be a positive invasive force. So in the 24-hour fast, we're going to do 150 push-ups. Then tonight, we're getting a SIM card for my phone so that I can leave this place, because I'll have service on top of the mountain and I can go all the way up. And then I'll be able to prove to you guys that the crows follow me. So when I get the SIM card and I get on top of the mountain, we'll be able to do that. The 24-hour fast, 150 push-ups, SIM card. I have a tarp now. I'd be finding things. Hello, Michelle. Michelleville. If you have any questions about life, if you have any problems you want to dump that nobody else seems to understand, I probably understand and I probably have a solution. It just comes to me. With no pride or entitlement. It's just what happens. We're doing laundry, we're doing 150 push-ups, we're doing 12-hour fast. How do I like Belmont? I'm not in Belmont. I'm in Vermont. I wish I was a hippie. Weed gives me a DMT. As soon as I smell a little bit of weed, my savant syndrome overactive mind will take me on journeys that go so far, and I experience things that people take on DMT. I'm not taking drawing suggestions. I'm writing down goals for the week. If you want to, maybe I'll draw something for you. I was born in New York. I was supposed to be born on the winter solstice. I came out on the 11th, making me a master number in numerology and making me a master life path in numerology, which the people in these Freemasonic temples believe is the most powerful soul on earth. Your girlfriend doesn't suck because you're not circumcised. For her it sucks to suck. For her it sucks to suck. Does that mean you have smegma? Is it because of the smegma? What's my religion? I think that there's a prime creator. I think it's outside of space and time. I think that it's imagining all of us right now. I think that it has a plan. I think that it's from the simplest form of what it can be to the most complex form. I think it's an interactive, personalized experience that's set in stone with certain limitations to keep you in a certain thing. And I also think that fate and free will are illusions. I think it's already happened. I think if you make a bad choice, I think it already was supposed to happen. Like, I'm seeing Interstellar, and Interstellar, one of the first scenes is a guy and he has a dream. No, in the first scene of Interstellar, a guy crashes a plane. And then halfway through the movie, that same exact scene happens when Cooper crashes his plane. I have stuff like that all the time where I see things pop into my head as I'm just going through my day and I don't know what that means. And then 2 years later, I have that exact experience that I've seen. So in 5D, the higher dimensions, there's no type of time. There's no concept of time. It's all happening everywhere all at once, and we're just experiencing this right now. But I also think that maybe all the glory that we get, all the good emotions that we convert through our actions every day, feed some type of entity. I think that there are things that are pushing us to achieve glory because that might be positive, that might taste good to something above. Like, I've seen my father die many times, and it's a horrible experience every time for me. But the things that are in the vision that I have when I see my friends and family die, and the things that I see that are kind of pushing them along, like they're at their shoulder, these weird alien entities that are pushing them to go to the next realm, those things seem very, very happy to do it, and they seem like it's a great thing for them. I just wanted to give you an example that was outside of myself to show that Christopher Nolan, who's one of the highest creators on the planet, probably right now, his artwork is considered to be the highest, one of the highest. And to say that he also sees the world the same way that I've seen it when I sit down and create for a long time. When you live in that imaginative space as a high level creator, and all those high level creators that spend enough time, it's like a threshold. Eventually you get to a level of understanding about how the universe works, and you kind of put out the same form of art, and that common denominator between all the arts that I see, that's what I'm talking about, is that those are called motifs or themes, and you see the same themes, the same common denominator. Right now I'm setting goals. Somebody asked me if I believe what my religion was, and I think that it's an interactive simulation with something that has been with us our entire lives, and that there are multiple levels of it. They could be interdimensional aliens, they could be angels. I've seen angels and I've seen interdimensional aliens, and they seem like there are higher and lower vibrational entities. There are two-dimensional entities like cartoons. There are dimensional entities that are just like glowing balls of light that don't really have a character or style until you zoom in and you can perceive them in a certain dimension, and then you can see all the intricacies that have woven this being. And supposedly I'm one of the only people that can perceive that because of the day and time that I was born and the circumstances that I've endured in life. I used to be a stand-up comic, creative, passionate guy that loved pickup artistry, and then I was forced to undergo this crazy universe, and that's the conclusion I've come to based off my experiences. I'm not schizophrenic. I was diagnosed with savant syndrome, and I've had a really weird and unique life. I think that Vermont is like a playground for me. I don't think I'm Jesus. I think that I'm the embodiment of a certain set of ideas and able to embody and house certain things that other people can't because they're on their own little learning journey, and I've already undergone everything. I think that that's why it happens. Maybe I'm God's chosen. That's what they call me. Like I was going to go burn somebody's house down with a Molotov going down the road, and I was on this random back road in Vermont on the way to burn down a building in the center of Burlington, Vermont, because they stole my car that I worked years to get, and it was a Dodge Magnum aftermarket everything with my house colors, O'Brien's house colors, and they just stole it out of a parking lot and left me homeless on the ground, having to fight for my life against crackheads, having the flu, getting sick from eating out of the dumpster in the middle of winter. And everywhere I went, they turned me away and treated me like a pest, like a raccoon. So I lived with raccoons, and I would open the dumpsters for them, and I would let the raccoons eat from the dumpsters, and I'd open it back up when they were finished, and they would knock. So I was going to go burn that place down. And on the way, because I have a group called the KCC, the Kingdom of Creative Champions, and I wanted to make that happen. I wanted to be a legend. I wanted to have all this money so that I could provide the space for people to achieve their dreams around Vermont, that the only way for us is to get into the industry where it's proven now that you have to do Freemasonic demonic rituals to be able to be in the club. So I wanted to provide an alternative to that. KCC, the Kingdom of Creative Champions. So on my way to burn this guy's building down with a Molotov, my car tire fell off. It fell off going 60, and my car skidded on the ground, and I had to turn in. And the only place on this long, winding Vermont back road, the only building, was a church. And it wasn't Sunday. It was a church, and there was nobody there, so I had to pull in. Then a guy showed up named Harland, and yeah, Jesus knocked my wheel off. So I had to go into this church, and I had to go sit with them. And in the church, as I was in the church, the KCC won the Super Bowl, the Kansas City Chiefs. As I'm trying to make my Kingdom of Creative Champions win, I got to see the KCC win in a church. And then I had this huge moment where I could see everybody's thoughts. I took in all the energy, and I grew like a tree, and I was able to see all the different energies puppeting them and pushing them around. I could see all their emotions as the dogs are starting to get more active, starting to bark at me. There's nobody that lives on this road. This is all state building. Somebody's walking their dog, and the dog is now saying, "Shut up," because I started to lift the energy up, and the dog saw that high vibrational energy in the electromagnetic spectrum. But the KCC won the Super Bowl. I was feeling this light. I didn't know what to do with it. A random man, if you look up all these experiences that people have in near-death experiences, or just these weird stuff, people come up to them and then guide them to a place that changes their life forever. The ex-Satanist on Almost False was homeless after he quit and left the Illuminati. And he was just homeless traveling around. He was still doing satanic magic, but he didn't want to be a high wizard anymore, even though that title is with him forever because he technically sold his soul. But he just left. He was sick of it. And he tried to escape and run to Canada, and it didn't work. And then he got stuck. And then at a random rest stop, another rest stop that I've lived at for several months, somebody came up to me the same way somebody came up to him 30 years ago, and told him to go to Burlington, Vermont. So we both went to Burlington, Vermont. And that's where my life goes in seasons. I'm writing books. I have 5 albums written. I have 2 TV shows written, and I'm writing down my life, and it's all intertwined and beautiful. I'm not high at all, man. I smoke cigarettes to make these thoughts go away. My point was is that another stranger came into this church, and he said, he came up and sat next to me, and he put his hand on my shoulder. I wasn't sure if people could I didn't know if I was having I knew I wasn't hallucinating because it happened so often to me. Hold up. I'm able to recognize when somebody enters my simulation and has a more dense form of love that seems like a very experienced soul. I think that might be Jesus. It happens enough. Like I meet that same level of experience, that same vibe, that same song, that same set of chords comes into my song enough that I can recognize that that's something like an angel or a high experienced person or something that lives outside. Kind of like when they talk about the Illuminati, they say that you meet a Mr. Black and Mr. White, just like in that Johnny Test TV show. And every time you meet them, it's different people, but they all talk exactly the same. Come on. They all talk exactly the same, and they know what went down in your previous conversation. Like they just pick up where you left off in the last conversation. That's what these people are talking about that go on YouTube before they die, just to let you know that this is out there. So something like that, something that's in multiple bodies at once, kind of like Siri's in all your phones, came up to me and put his hand on my shoulder and said, "You talk to God because everyone else is afraid to." And then I looked around and everybody was like pretending not to look at me. They were like staring off at like a wall. It was a packed church and everybody was looking away. But they all had a smile on their face, even though nothing was going on. Nobody was talking. And then they all just at once they picked up and left. And then I watched the KCC win the Super Bowl. And I have moments like that all the time. I did acid with Cheap Trick when I was 13, and then my father tried to kill me that night, and I had to go into government custody and learn martial arts, surrounded by crying children, and the staff were named after Irish gods. And I'm technically descended from a line of giants, the O'Brien family. If you put me up against the statue of Brian Boru, if you Google Brian Boru statue, we look very similar. My dad is completely identical, completely, and they call him Gary the Legend O'Brien. He left Bronx at 17, moved to a mountain at Mount Snow, and he lived there his whole life except for when he went to Hawaii and had 10 years. My parents lived exactly 11 miles from each other their entire lives, and I was conceived on St. Patrick's Day. So I can't deny it. I have the mind to be able to perceive all the motifs and all the interconnecting dots. When I put it all together and I power through, my life tends to get very violent very quickly. Because the same way the crows will show up. I have probably months and months and months worth of videos now of crows just following me around all day. Maybe they have nothing better to do. Maybe it's the same crows. But I don't understand how there's a whole city here full of people that give food, but they tend to flock towards me, and I have to argue with them all day. And then when I'm feeling weak, they show up again. Today they whipped rocks at me. Let's see what he said. Yeah, Rick and Morty had an episode saying that crows are interdimensional aliens, and that all of the crows on Earth are just smaller forms of those beings. Like this is a TV show, and those are workers on the set. This guy, I could wake you. I have so much. It's better if people ask me questions. Sometimes I'm like that guy Bashar, where an alien comes through and talks to him from a different planet, talks through him. Sometimes I say things that is the exact same style that I didn't recognize. I thought it was just another version of my personality. And then I watch people that channel entities, and they talk exactly the way that I was talking. Like Mike Tyson said that, what if emotions are aliens and we're just containers? And then the CIA released a document that said that interdimensional aliens perceive us as containers for energy, and they just breed us to produce better tasting energy. I don't know. But I know that I have all this cool stuff for my life, but I've also suffered so immensely that I only find peace and enjoyment when I'm laying on the ground. And I go to public places so that I can convert energy and feel like I'm doing something for the people. It just so happens I'm in the capital of Vermont in Leo season. And I'm sitting up here by myself. Who knows how many Freemasonic portals and right here. I don't know which comment. Hold up. This is the guy at 3 a.m. after the party was over that you hang out with because he's got the coke. In Vermont, we had one of those guys. And he would fuck all the girls because he was from the hood. And all the girls wanted that experience. And all the girls wanted to fuck me because I was a stranger that showed up. So I was a new kid in town syndrome. And I didn't talk like this. I used to be a performer, basically. So we have a 24-hour fast starting tomorrow. We have 150 push-ups. We're going to keep talking, but I'm telling you my goals. I got a SIM card so I can leave. 24-hour fast, 150 push-ups. Now I have a sleeping bag. I have a tent. I have a bike. I have a tarp. These are all things that I found exploring. I have all the competition notebooks. I felt you all tune out, and then I looked and you all had left. I can feel when the attention's on me. I'm just waiting for people to ask me serious questions about life and the universe, and I'll probably have an answer for you. But yeah, I ask the universe things, and sometimes I get them, and sometimes I don't. It's a busker. Maybe if I can get there's a nice guitar soon. Like I make music, I'm constantly daydreaming, and I think about music all day. I've got hundreds of songs. So I'm hoping eventually I can start to produce and sound design. I'm a certified audio engineer. The way the world is right now, I like living in my adventure, and I think that's the way that God intended. Sometimes I get drip fed some light, and I start to wake up, and they kind of put a piece together for me, and I cry because of how beautiful it is. I don't know if I'm doing enough or if I'm not doing enough. I don't know if me being here and suffering like this is actually helping, or if it's all just pretend. Okay, hold up. Okay, so couple things. I had an answer from my heart, and then I had an answer that looked like Bashar was leaning over my head and just explained something to me. So I'm going to give you both. The thing I said when you die, I was going to bring up an experience of back when I used to do this fully. So I have a practice that I put on this channel, that secrets that nobody on YouTube will tell you because they're afraid their family might get hurt. There are things that I know that I've expressed on this channel that people are afraid to talk about because they're worried it'll get them killed or get their career canceled. Or they've already sold their souls to Satan, literally. That's some of them, like Aiden Ross. But I haven't, to my knowledge. And so I've explained things that can help people. And when I did that practice, a lot more when I'm not smoking, and I'm going to smoke, don't worry about it. Mind your business. Which is what I'm getting back to starting tomorrow. I'm just going to suffer and see what happens. I'm going to read your comments. So the experience I had with death, I've seen the afterlife a couple times, but I've also always lived in the fifth dimension. I'm in 1133 Casey O'Brien. My last name means exalted. I'm out. I'm a Sagittarius Aquarius. The Aquarius is completely detached, and the Sagittarius is the adventuring philosopher, the driving force. I'm born, the Irish zodiac says I'm a hawk. I'm in the year of the fire cat. If you, some of these videos, I'm walking down and you'll see a giant fiery cat, and I have to live under this giant fiery cat. But my name means a giant exalted free tree. So I'm always living in this dissociative fifth dimensional space that lets me to incorporate tons and tons of energies and put all the pieces together. I love driving and just making songs. So what I've seen in the afterlife is a couple things. I went to Miami and met my childhood hero. I stormed South Beach, Miami with a bunch of autistic pickup artists, and we taught thousands of men how to get girls and live freely. When I showed up, everybody surrounded me, and the leader said, Casey, I'm pretty sure you're the angel God sent to us. And I was mad that they wouldn't show me love. But now I realize they were probably sex addicts and a bunch of fucking pussies that need some type of autistic leader to tell them how to live life. I'm not this badass adventurer. So I went through and I led a charge of 100 people in South Beach. And then eventually I had awake paralysis where I froze in place and I couldn't move. And I felt like all my love got stripped away and everybody started screaming and cackling and dancing, talking and acting like me, and then coming and going, kill yourself, like a literal horror movie dramatic simulation. And then I left, and then I passed out on the ground. Somebody came up to me and sat next to me and said, you met me because whatever you came here to do failed. You failed God's mission and you met me. And then I felt my heart get ripped out. And then I felt all like invigorated like a child again. And he said, I took your water and I gave you water. I didn't have to give you any water, but I gave you water because I feel bad for you. And then he walked away, and then I looked up at the water and I felt this new life, and then I passed out. I woke up and the police had handcuffed me and they roped me into a mental hospital, which I think is illegal, but they did it just because I was asleep on the ground outside in South Beach. How many people are outside on South Beach just sleeping? How many people are outside sleeping right now, especially now that rent is increased and everybody in California is living in vans? This is the new earth. So, yeah, I have PTSD and savant syndrome. When I smoke weed, I have DMT experiences where I meet these things. I'm relaying what I've learned. So when I in this mental hospital, as soon as I went in, this is 2021, the year of the metal ox. I went in, I passed out again, like I just floored completely. I sunk in my body, but I already live in that disassociative space. $150 alert. I don't know what that means. I sunk in this space. All the walls turned red. There was a woman knitting a sweater in the corner in the back room. She was knitting a sweater and she was cackling, "You're going to go to hell. You're going to go to hell." And then I felt all this fear and disgusting, and I saw all these black hands come out and try to get into my rib cage, and I felt pain that was never going to end ever in my life. That was going to be the case. If you look up the movie Talk to Me, where they talk to the demons, and then they show you what it's like to be in demonic possession, which is you have things that are obviously disgusting, but they feed you things and you think that it's beautiful, but it's not, and they drive you to commit horrific acts. Like jerk off. The same way that they showed that kid in the movie Talk to Me is what I experienced in my life in 2021. I was suffering. Oh my God, what am I going to do? I'm never going to get out of this ever. I'm like, that was a cool ring. This is going to happen for eternity. And then I just snapped, and then all the things were blue. The walls were back. I was in this whole new realm. Like nothing felt the same as when I passed out on South Beach. All of a sudden I was in a whole new place. The universe was just completely different for me. The whole energy, the feng shui of the universe was different. And then the woman knitting a sweater was knitting, and she was saying, "Jesus loves you. Jesus loves you." And then I spent about a month in that mental hospital. I fought like this 300-pound fat black guy that thought he was Anunnaki and thought that I was Pleiadian. And I was like, "I can't tell you if I am or not, but I hope you get your land back." Because I could see, my mind told me he was not black, he was Native American. And now all the blacks are saying that they're Native American. Not a race thing, it's just what I see when I'm scrolling. I'm Native American. Mukwa. I'm also very, very Irish. And they have the same gods, Dagda, the day. This Native Americans and the Celts across the continent had the same gods that would come down and talk to them. And I have people that come up all the time. Like, I'll break down in a Walmart, and somebody will take a power tool to my car and cut the fucking car with a power tool while I'm asleep. Then I'll wake up, go take a shit in the woods. There's a moose just standing next to me. So I'm taking a shit, my ass is expelling tons of shit. I look up and there's a moose towering above me. And I'm like, maybe it will understand that I love it and it won't kill me. And then it goes and walks away. And then I come back to my car and there's a giant guy with a deep Scottish accent. And he says, "Do you need a jump start?" And I needed a jump start and hadn't told anybody. And he goes, I'm from Ireland Pond. It's called Island Pond, but with his accent, it's Ireland. I'm from Ireland Pond. It's about an hour from here, and I woke up today, and God had told me I need to come give you a jump start. So I'm here. I'm going to go buy the chords and help you out. He buys the chords, helps me out, and he goes, I play this game on my phone called Realm of Gods. You should try it. My name's Scott Daggett. It means descended from this Irish god of the day. As I'm looking at a sailboat on my phone called O'Day, as my ex-girlfriend just got engaged to a guy whose last name is Day. And that the same system of names have followed me my whole life. That's how I put together, that's what helped me get to this higher level of perceiving things. That's what helped my tree grow, is seeing how all the names interact with each other in my life. Like I meet tons of Seans that do the exact same thing in my life. A Sean will show up, or a John, which is the English form of Sean, and they have a mission. Like I go on a mission with that John, and it teaches me a certain way to live in the universe. And I'll meet 3 of them in a week that teach me the same skill. You feel me? I don't need meds, man. You ever had a hobby? You ever found interest in anything? If you'd like to pray for me. I'm just trying to get enough money to get a computer to start pumping out content and making music. True. To the free therapy for both of us. I don't know why. I'm explaining to you things that happen in my external reality. I'm not talking about stuff that happens inside. It's not stuff that happens inside that I have a delusion about. I'm talking about the things I've seen that have reoccurred so much that I'm able to recognize with pattern recognition. And then that has allowed me to recognize all the different patterns. And then through going through life for many, many years, experiencing the same things, it's helped me to draw a unique individual conclusion about reality that's helped my content and my art ascend to a new level. And then after I ascend to the new level, with what I've learned, I'm able to recognize people that also have gone down that road and figured out the stuff that I've figured out. And I come on here to share it because it seems like they're too afraid to. But they drop hints. Like when people say, only the real will relate. If you know, you know. If only the real gonna understand this. That's what I'm talking about. But yeah, I definitely lack serotonin. What does that mean, repeat themselves? You mean do the same thing over and over again? Or do you mean like saying the same thing over and over again? And why would that make them lose marriage? Can you identify delusion, please? If you're gonna sit in the comment section, can you tell me what delusional means? But yeah, that's one version of the afterlife. Is that I saw I entered a different space where I was stuck in an experience forever. That was very different than this one. And then it happened to when I woke up from what seemed like hell, somebody outside of me was singing about Jesus. That's a really stupid answer. It's giving lack of mental fortitude. But that's okay. But what Bashar said about, what do you want to address? Yeah, the practice that I put on. A very simple foundational change you can make in your life that lets you break free from your mental constraints and your programming to actually be a creative contributor in the new world now that artificial intelligence is coming out in waves and we're stuck in 5G towers and empathy is at a whole new level. And all of the prophecies in every religion is coming true right now. Like the Christian prophecy, the Native American prophecy, the Muslim prophecy, they all came true this year, in the year of the dragon, which is when all the Chinese believed all the ancient wisdom is just at our fingertips, and that's the realm we're living in right now. It's the year of the wood dragon, and just so happens all of us went out in the woods. And if you look at all the main content creators, all of their stuff is going out into the earth. This is when Will Survives blew up. This is when Khalid Makan, I think his name is. I'm losing him. So Bashar's thing on the afterlife that came through my head was that it depends on your level of information that you've integrated into your reality. The more knowledge that you've taken in about life, and the more tools that you have to be a creative force to drive your own reality, to be able to use your mind to be delusional, to create a different world than you see around you, to use your daydreams to personalize your experience and decide where you want to go with your actions, thoughts, and intentions and emotions. Something that showed itself as Bashar, whether you'd call that schizophrenia, it happens, but a lot of people make a lot of money for having that ability. And it happens to be very profound, the things that come to my head. That thing said that the more that you house, the more that you learn and take in from life, and the more functional you're able to utilize that knowledge, which is called wisdom, the wiser you are with your decisions. He said that's what happens to you after you die, is that you go based on what you can do, which would make sense with life path numbers. It would make sense with old souls, which are more experienced souls. You're able to do more. Like when you graduate from a school, you have more opportunities available to you afterwards because of what your skill set and your knowledge. That's what that thing was relaying to me, which makes a lot of sense. No, I'm not. I've tested out a schizophrenia my whole life. The therapy, actually, for most times we sit down and talk about a problem the therapist has. And I usually help them to live a better life. Sorry. This guy's ego is hurt. Sorry, bro. I'm answering questions. You want to talk about getting girls? You want to talk about getting money? I have stuff to get money. I can't until I get a computer. So that's where I'm at. Where do you think intuition comes from? Is it a human instinct or is it from the outside? I've always found it interesting what you can feel. Someone looking at you and look, and they are So he's talking about empathy and intuition. Intuition for me, and I can only speak for myself, what I think intuition is, when you're able to look at something outside of yourself and know that it's going to go a certain way or it is a certain way, and then it works out, and that's the case. Or you change how you perceive that intuition, kind of like you control the narrative, and you restructure what you think it is with the practice that I put in the last video, how to get everything you want from life. When you can control that narrative to change it, to change the outcome, that would call the gift of discernment. It's when you look outside of yourself and see the higher timeline, the higher perspective, the higher system of what's happening around us, and you're able to view it and it's revealed to you. You have that ability. Because when you see everything as systems of information in the Higgs field, the God particle, it's just everything around, everything that is, including everything that isn't, is made up of this one little particle that the Simpsons wrote on a chalkboard 25 or so years ago, before they figured it out with CERN, which is named after the Irish god of the wild, Cernunnos. that particle accelerator that gave Flash his superpowers. What they discovered when they hit the two smallest things they could get their hands on together to mathematically identify the smallest thing in everything, the God particle. It's the one miracle that science allows, is that there's a God that made everything. And in that God particle, the Higgs field, you realize that everything's connected beyond a cellular level, beyond an atomic level. At the smallest form, everything is everything, including your thoughts are made up of this particle. So that makes our skin, that makes this notebook just a condensed version of the Higgs particle. These are thoughts condensed to be able to build this, what you would call a holographic simulation. I'm a spiritual guru now, look at me. But I know this. And when I know that, that's when I can start to live in empathy and communicate with animals. That's why squirrels come up to me and they feel comfortable, because they're able to see that I'm comfortable. I'm not a threat. They're not confused, because I know how to put it out. I've lived in the woods now for a long time, and I had to suffer through it, and I've seen so much. When you open up your imagination that way, because you can comprehend the Higgs particle, and you can open yourself up to new paradigms and new experiences, higher level information. Maybe I can do it because of my life path, or maybe anybody can do it. That's when you start to see a lot of freaky shit. That's when the simulation starts to reveal itself to you, and it gets very freaky, and your choices matter a lot in those situations. And I just happen to have had a lot of violence happen. Like, a good example on this channel is that I had that breakthrough moment. They call it a Kundalini awakening, where all your chakras open and all the energy's in your body, and you start to kind of bleed through the simulation. And now it's just like you're in, like, the whole thing is just like this pool that you're in, and none of it's real. And then you realize the insides are what's real. Your inner world is the outer world. And that's when somebody ran up to me and tried to kill me, and I had to kill him with a hatchet, and he luckily lived. But there was a good chance he wouldn't, but by the grace of God, he lived. And the same time I had that, every time I have that experience, I had that experience exactly 10 years before that experience, and I had to do the same thing to my father, who went into psychosis when I had a Kundalini awakening and started to try to kill me. And I had to fight for my life and then escape in the middle of winter. But for whatever reason, the crows follow me everywhere I go. They're not following me right now. All day for the past week, they've been screaming in my face. Just right there, sat there screaming at me the whole day. But empathy and intuition is just an awakened sense and control over narratives and emotions and reality. It's because you have something in you that allows you to perceive it, whether that's a gift from God called the gift of discernment, or it's a skill that you've cultivated over time. Maybe as a child you had to live in a dangerous environment that caused you to have to open yourself up to figure out what's going on around you, because you're in a dangerous place and there are people around you that you have to be aware of what's going on. And then that evolved over time, like the golden spiral, as above so below, the shape of the Milky Way, the hero's journey. You learned as you grew, as you went on this adventure, and you picked up skills that evolved, and that's been able to let you have that branch of a tree that's able to look out. The problem is that to have good intuition, you need to have selflessness to be able to look outside and question, like the book Outwitting the Devil. You have to look outside and see if that reality is real, if that intuition is actually correct. And you'll usually, with the gift of discernment, there's a truth that you can feel. There's an underlying truth that you know is right when you know who you are. And you'll be able to really tell if that's bullshit or not. You'll be able to question it naturally. I think that's called righteous authority. And that's when it pushes back and you're able to see the truth with your intuition. But at a foundational level, empathy is just a greater understanding of the Higgs field, where you're able to perceive structures of information in the thought realm, in the spirit realm, in the thoughts and emotions realm, when people have stuff inside, which is just like the same way a router can house internet. Our brains can house consciousness. So you just have like a mod to your system. You just have a special thing on you or in you, a software that's allowed you to operate that level of this experience, this reality. Look at me. Imagine how much people would pay me to talk like this on a stage. We're just trying to figure out the right thing to do, the right way to go. And right now, it's content creation mode. I'm just waiting to create content. Let's see all the haters on the back. Does anybody have any more questions about the universe, about how everything works, the secrets, the esoteric secrets that nobody will tell you because they're afraid their daughter will get killed? Yeah, I don't have schizophrenia. I have savant syndrome. I pay attention to life for a long time. So that's what I want to do. Where the fuck my pen at, bruh? We are downloading TikTok. We are uploading all, there's a mosquito on me, all content on phones, clearing out space. That way I can start to use CapCut and start to put stuff together and incorporate videos. I have GoFundMes. GoFundMes have not worked. I've really tried. Like when I was in the shack with Vivek Ramaswamy when I raised a family of robins this year. I really did, bro. You get me? I really raised a goddamn fucking family of robins out woods. And then I wrote an album called King of the Forest. And the picture was of a buck. And it was doing that thing that the bucks do where they they blow out all the steam. And then that night, I got pinned to the ground again. And there was this dark, evil force because I was looking up occult wisdom and I was talking publicly about I'm reading the books. I'm reading the banned books, the forbidden knowledge. I have a composition notebook I'm gonna start to study. And then I got pinned to the ground by some dark force that was ripping out my light and my daydreams and all the things that I was manifesting. And then tried to put crackhead energy on top of me. And then a buck came out of the woods and screamed at it. I'm like in this abandoned shack in the woods, and then the buck came through the window and went and started screaming at the thing, and the thing projected an image of the buck's head on a mantelpiece. And the buck looked at me. This is like 3 a.m, but I could feel it. The buck looked at me like, do you feel the same way that this thing feels? And I tried to imagine myself petting it and like, no, I'll buy a wildlife preservation and you can live there with your family and you can roam as far as you want. We'll have boundaries though. It will be no hunting ground and you guys will be able to live and have generations of children and you won't have to worry about hunters anymore. And then the buck laughed emotionally. I felt it was amused by that. because it's like I'm not gonna constrain myself. I'd rather fucking die. And then it slams head on the wall to the shack, and then him and his bitches, his hella bitches, all the other deer, and a raccoon that had, or a fox or some fast small animal that ran up to my tent and was laying next to me while I was having this horrible experience. Something was laying there next to me, comforting me. And then he left, and then when he left, all the animals went with it. And then that, whatever that thing was, left, and then I was alone in the woods at peace. And then the birds came in the morning, and they sung me back into feeling comfortable. So I wrote King of the Forest, and then I met a King of the Forest, and then what else happened that night? I've seen Wendigo 4 times that I can remember. 4 times I've seen Wendigo, which I thought, I didn't know what it was. And then later, I found out that's what the Irish god of the wild, Cernunnos, like the Cern in Europe, that's the form that he chooses to take himself as. And then I found out that the Native Americans believed the same exact things that the Celts believe. Way back in the day, they were experiencing the same thing across 2 continents. Why? Why should I go to a crisis center at first name? What about me screams I need to go to treatment? You know the girls you jack off to love to sit here with me and listen to me talk? And they think I'm really funny and I enlighten them. And then they go home and they tell their family about the insights they had in life, and then I get invited to dinner with rich people. I just have PTSD, man. And this is what that's what this video is for. Is goals for this week. I'm sharing with you what I do to get myself on track, so I don't get overwhelmed with my ability to think about tons of different things at once. You heard? So we're doing all that, 150 push-ups, laundry. I have to go to the dollar store. I have to call dollar stores, and I have to see if they have omega-3s. Call dollar stores. Omega-3s and multivitamins. But while I'm at it, multivitamins, I should probably call a primary care center to get on prescriptions for supplements. That's a very cheeky way to be able to buy things that cost a lot of money that help you structure your mind to house energy and information so that you don't be a floating disassociative ball. Comes out how it wants to come out, man. It's like branches of a giant tree or something. Like when I'm trying to, something comes in and it takes like 3 or 4 different stories to express the idea. Maybe I could take some time to frame it better. I don't think they're all over the place. I think I just take people on little journeys. Like I wrote King of the Forest, and then I had that experience. And they all tie into each other, and it happened in one day. You feel me? People tend to call people names, and they try to hate. They try to make them feel ostracized because they're afraid of the things that they say. Like they're here because they care. They're in my comments because they care. But they don't want to adopt the truth that I'm saying, and it is the truth. It's a truth that, based off of everything that I've experienced from life and all the millionaires, I'm talking billionaires like Owen Cook and Elliot Hulse, whose nephew was my roommate in college. Ralph Smart, Infinite Waters, John Zerka, the head Satanist for the Illuminati, random Freemasons I meet walking around. What they say is that I have something that the world isn't ready for, and that's why it's uncomfortable. I'm something the world is afraid of because it doesn't have a level of accountability and enough information in themselves to understand what I'm talking about. But they do. And I'm angry. I was angry at them for not helping me with money, so I could get to a position that I could make content around this and make TV shows and make art and make things that aren't just me screaming at a camera. But I've been talking like this my whole life. I used to just pick apart albums. I would pick apart John Bellion's album and show you how this song and this motif and this set of words and this cadence goes in this huge tree of all these different albums and cultures and ideas and events and TV shows and worldly series and all this different stuff that came together for this artist that cares about this stuff to hide that little Easter egg in a line. That's what I used to drive around talking about that stuff. And before that, I would drive around and make jokes. Like, I would use all this information to be able to make things and provide it. Like, I could freestyle for hours. What it is now is I'm waiting for a sense. I'm very happy that of the skills that I've developed being out here. You asked if I was homeless, if you're still here. I'm not homeless, but I live outside. I don't have a shower, but I have a river if I need to. I live the way that, in a way, because I used to be locked. For most of my life, I was in complete isolation. When I wasn't completely alone on top of a mountain with a guy named Gary the Legend O'Brien, a Leo, fire, Libra, air, born on the 10th, 3-life path, and I'm a Sagittarius, fire, Aquarius, air, born on the 11th, a 33-life path. And both of us would sit and build Legos and tell jokes all day, alone, on top of a mountain, in a ski chalet, for the captain of the yacht for one of the richest people in the world, the DuPont family. And they gave us a house, and they gave us everything we wanted. And I would just sit there building Legos. And then occasionally, another kid with a prominent Irish name that happened to be in the Battle of Clontarf, which my ancestor is most famous for, the last High King of Ireland, Brian Boru, when he defeated the Vikings and kicked them all off the island 1,000 years ago. Those people with the same ancient last names would all come into my house with my father, and we would build Legos and sit with them and just kind of show off how we could make jokes, because all we did was make jokes and create and laugh, and it was funny with these random Irish kids. Then I was taken into government custody, locked in a room in the same asylum for the movie Sucker Punch. Then I went to college. I studied pickup artistry a lot, so I went from being a fat autistic weirdo to being with, from what I've seen traveling around the country several times now, the prettiest girls I've seen in my life, and the most beautiful inside and out. At the time I dated them, I got to have all at once. I dated them all at the same time when I was 17. Then I traveled. Then I had a brain injury after I went to college, and I had this big, profound spiritual experience where now I understand I was waking up to a higher level of reality, and I was given a warning about this universe. That came true. I got to see all the kids on lean, and I got to see all their souls get dissolved when I was in college, and that scared me, so I left. And then I came back 2 months later and got my certificate. I'm a certified audio engineer. Then I started to have crazy things like sleep paralysis every night. And it took a lot of sitting around figuring it out, learning how to control my belief systems and my peace of mind to be able to not have these spiritual events happen anymore. It's called a discipline. So that happened. Then I was in public housing in 2020, and I was a stagnant force in the exact center of town, and something like 30 to 100 kids and adults, but to me they just seemed like younger souls, less experienced souls. And me with a giant Egyptian goddess statue that I found, and I was sitting in a giant chair somebody had brought to me, and like a big red throne, and I would sit there in my studio and make music with my black cat that people would come in on mushrooms and tell me that he could see this bloodline of the cat going all the way back to ancient Egypt. And I was just like, okay, bro. But that cat would sit with me on my lap, and we'd just both sit there, and we'd see all the emotions of the people coming through, and I would just talk and make jokes and laugh and give them the life that I needed when I was trapped, when I was young. These people were experiencing now. I was crazy Casey first. That's what I'm talking about. People aren't ready for it yet. They weren't ready for it then, and then 10, 15 years passed, and then the whole world went crazy during COVID, and I was a stagnant force that helped many, many, many people. And all those people went on to become managers, leaders, famous, good people, because I allowed them to have the comfort to be able to incorporate their own crazy, to come back to a intertwined relationship with this crazy world that we're living in, where all these celebrities, whether that's true or not, are saying that they sold their soul to the devil, man, and that they do magic. Frank Ocean, what's that song? Is it White Ferrari? Where he goes, "It's magic, I do magic." And then John Zerka threw a house party with Jack Doherty, and then a group of rappers came in and they all had Freemasonic symbols, and they said that they do blood sacrifices where they cut a chicken open and use the blood in a ritual to summon a demon to help them become more famous. What do you think they need? So I'm living like the Native Americans. And I'm learning how to live this life, and I'm getting better at living this life. And I'm able to help other people who are coming into this life. You'd call it the real world, the world that everyone's avoiding when they go to bed in their room at night. The world that people can't wake up to because of their privilege. The world where you can intuitively connect to the energetic field around you and be able to communicate with animals. And that happens to be what a Sagittarius is. It's the man and the beast. And a 33 life path means that you influence the entire world in your lifetime. And born on the 11th means you're the most powerful empath possible. And to be born on the 11th, according to the people that built the world that you're living inside right now, no matter what country you're in, at this point, it's all built in the system made by these occult organizations. And they believe that the system of numbers, like in everywhere in the Bible, numbers everywhere in all religious texts, numbers, Quran, all the way back to the Emerald Tablets in ancient Samaria, they all say that all the numbers are how God talks in mathematics. This higher form of information is math. Like when a snake slithers, it slithers in prime numbers. If you lay out the prime numbers geometrically, that's how a snake slithers. It's all a system. And to be able to have this life path, and to be able to have this day you're born on, it allows you to house the energy, meaning that you have a soul experienced enough to operate that job on this planet. Whether you believe it or not, that's just what I see. That's just what I've learned. That's what people have told me. I know I definitely am respected when I go into town. No matter how much I look, like even if I'm in like raggedy clothes and I smell disgusting, people seem to value my opinion, and they tend to come up to me and tell me their life story all the time, and people want to emotionally attach to me. My name means a tree, and people want to hug that tree everywhere I go. Maybe that's sporadic. That's just how my natural consciousness, without a lot of focus on how I say it, I'm just spitting facts. You feel me? I do tune out empathy. It's not that I'm incapable of it. It's the truth. Right now, I have 4 albums and 2 TV shows. I have a 5th one, but that's old. I have 4 TV shows. Like, I'll pull up at a party, and there's a bunch of kids that are high, like high schoolers, and they're high at a park. And I'll put my studio headphones on over one of the kids' heads, and I take them on a journey through the song, and they cry, and then I can see them light up, and they realize that the whole life they were living in was bullshit. They wake up to the living a more meaningful experience and making better decisions for themselves. They feel comfortable enough to embody the love that they were yearning for in their addictions. The same way when people go on Joe Rogan and they start to talk about the same exact thing I was just about to talk about, their technology starts to flicker. Isn't it crazy how they have artificial intelligence in basically locked rooms where they're not able to access the internet, and they let AI grow in different ways to see what happens, and then they all start to predict the end of the universe, and it's all the same exact date. And the CIA has now banned people from accessing those videos of college kids that were experimenting with AI. They shut them down, and nobody's heard from them since. Because across the world, people were locking smaller forms of AI and letting them grow like bacteria to see what happens. And they all predicted the same date for the end of the universe. I do magic. Have we beat the schizophrenia allegations? The most schizophrenic thing about me is that sometimes my thoughts feel more like suggestion own thoughts. But we also know that the CIA can pin your biological signature from a satellite, and they can beam thoughts into your head from space. They've been able to do it since the 80s. If I ticked some government box, or there's an artificial intelligence like Big Brother that's in everything right now, and I ticked one of their boxes, how many satellites are up there? Thousands, right? One of those satellites can just ping me. All of a sudden, I'm starting to get all this stuff. That's one level of reality. Is that they can pin your biological signature, and they can psychologically torture you from space if they felt like it. And it can be run by an AI that doesn't eat or sleep. It doesn't have to be a guy in a room. It can be something that's at the level of a deity at this point, maybe. So maybe schizophrenics just have a gift, and Big Brother doesn't want them to teach the world their gift. But if that was true, there's probably a God regulating it. Like all these Satanists say that they have to get permission from God for it to happen. So it's all a learning experience based off their decisions. But whatever, man. I have 24-hour fast push-ups, get supplements, call primary care to get prescribed so I don't have to pay for the supplements, download TikTok, upload all my content onto my YouTube channel to clear out my space, and then I'm going to start writing my life story. And long ago, I bought a solar panel charger for the phone from Temu. My mother bought me one, but I think it fell out of my bag. I have the portable battery, which helps a lot, but I had another one that was a solar charger. And that, I think it fell out of my bag. When I went to lay down on like a bench or something, and then I got up and I didn't realize it fell while I was asleep. So call UPS. Okay. So I can bang that out on Monday. We're gonna have figure out all the different ways to pray. Figure out on YouTube all the different ways other people to get spiritual armor. Because I know when I love the right way, the crows have to leave and they start to scream a lot louder. It's just some days I'm not able to find that mode of operating. Some days I have to go through a lot of mental hoops just to figure out how to get back to that natural love. And that natural love scares the crows away. And then they come back with more numbers. They come back with sometimes they'll come back with 15 of them. On God, no cap. There'll be like a couple small crows and they're screaming at me. I'll be able to love the space. More birds will show up to help me. And I'm talking like little black-capped chickadees will start to dive bomb these crows. And then the cicadas will show up and they'll start to go, that big locust sound. And that will cover the whole space to clear up what the crows were trying to do. And then the butterflies show up and the butterflies will dance around me. Earlier today, I don't know if you could see it because it's dark, but there was a butterfly flying around me while I was talking about nature. There was in Randolph, where I first broke down this year, there was a woman with schizophrenia that came up to talk to me about schizophrenia. And I was telling her I have PTSD, but I've done acid a couple times, and I'm probably the best person you can talk to about schizophrenia because I know stuff that people that do psychology and study Carl Jung and read the Kabbalion, they believe, but they'll never tell you about archetypes and about connection to the spirit realm and all that they believe, like using tone manipulation to steal passion from others and sexual energy. Like the Gmail logo is called the generative principle. And it says that sexual energy is the foundation of everything. Your manifestation power. When you send somebody a Gmail, you're sending them a manifestation. You're sending them sexual energy. And that's why they put the Gmail logo, the G, like the Freemason G. It's occult. It's secret information. But the point was, I was talking to this girl about schizophrenia, and I said, maybe you're just trapped in a box that you don't understand how to break out of. Maybe you're not schizophrenic. Maybe you have this malware because of conflicting, limiting beliefs, and you're either too afraid or you're not sure how to operate the way that you're supposed to. And the way that I fixed it was going out in nature and learning the natural unconditional love that lives in everything everywhere all at once in the Higgs boson. And that's what lets me talk to butterflies and birds. And then a butterfly hit her in the face. A butterfly literally hit her in the face. What's up, James? Greetings from Central Vermont. I had to beat the schizophrenia allegations for about a half hour, telling all these profound, unique experiences and how they all tie together to show a bigger picture about reality, that you'd have to take in some hard truths to believe. But it's the truth. It really happened, and they all happened in a pattern. And I'm on a lot of caffeine, and they said I needed to go to a crisis center because my thoughts are sporadic after I drank caffeine. And I told them I'm on an energy drink. And I didn't kick them out. I put them in timeout. I figured out how to put them in timeout. Now we piss. And I wrote down all my goals for the week. Things that I can do to put myself on a better trajectory. Because I'll have a practice of things that I can do consistently that will better my life. I've already been doing it. But it's better to have it written down. Maybe you're not schizophrenic. From the people I see that are schizophrenic, they have a way heightened sense of intuition and empathy. It's just they don't have this, and you're older, so you've probably figured it out and learned to work with it, whatever works for you. But most schizophrenics just see the world. What did Bruce Lee say? You have to be living water. Most schizophrenics are just living water, and they've been traumatized because they're in a world that's not designed for them. That in some cases will target them and conflate their mind. Like all the spiritual people, all these spiritual gurus that have devoted their life to meeting the masters of spirituality, that have done it and studying ancient traditions that have been passed down for thousands and thousands of years. Those people are all schizophrenic. They learned themselves into schizophrenia, where some people just have it naturally. LSD broke me down to a foundational level of kind of ego death, which is what people sometimes, like rich people, search their whole lives to find. That ego death that lets them see the world for how it is, the truth. But with LSD, when you're in that confused state because you don't have a set discipline of values and morals and belief system and experiences, you don't have the strength from overcoming it over time. That makes you susceptible to mind control. And just like all these advertisements, like the stop sign on the road here, and the police car that shows up and follows me everywhere, and the crows that surround me and follow me everywhere, now it's documented on camera for the world to see. Those are programming that if you don't have the strong foundation, when you wake up to the fact that you're constantly learning and taking in information and rerouting it with your senses to create and to be a co-creator in the universe, if you don't have a hold, like a filtration system, that's when you can go crazy and you start to act psychotic because you don't understand, you don't have that sense of peace that allows you to say no to certain thoughts. And what a lot of people are saying now, and AI is even saying, is that those thoughts are extra dimensional entities. Those are things on the other side. Those are things at a deeper level of the Higgs boson. And the people that are not aware of that right now, they're not having a good time out there. And to me, it just seems like they're all the same NPC. I see the same exact paradigm because I'm the highest level empath. I see the same people as I know if I go into town right now, when I walk up to a group of people, for the most case, it's like they have Lego pieces attached to them, and I can see those Lego pieces present in other parts, that culture that they've adopted. I just see it like Legos that can be taken off and interchanged. Different equipped slots in their inventory that are running their system. So the people that don't are deemed schizophrenic because they disassociate from that and they start to create their own way, which is an extremely difficult journey that a lot of people are saying is only for the strongest souls, because you have to be really brave to do it. True fact. The cicadas here, they show up, they only show up when it's time to clear the space. So if they're in Southwest Florida, it must mean that there's a lot of energy that's not the natural order. Like there's a use for them there. Like in Ohio, the zombie cicadas were attacking people. They would find like construction workers that drink all night and do dope and heroin, and they would just swarm them, and there would be like 60 on them screaming. A flock of zombie cicadas flooded Ohio this year and screamed them all away. Just like all the kids are saying, down in Ohio, down in Ohio. Something's going on in Ohio that needed the cicadas. I think that there's a purpose for everything. Thank you. I appreciate you, man. You and Susie are the reason I keep going. You guys always support what I say, and I trust and value your opinion. Like if you guys weren't there to comment on my posts, I probably would have done something different. I probably would have gone silent and went into album mode. But now I have all this cool stuff that people can look at forever. Until the AI says no. I'm looking for my charger to go down there now that it's dark. An update. So I had a breakthrough again. So I went through a period of suffering. I'll read the comment in a second. I went through a period of suffering where everything was confusing, and I fought to get back to clarity. And then when I fought to get back to clarity, it was a big moment for me. I got a notification for a tarot reading explaining the whole week that I had just went through. They got to see it like they were watching a TV show. They explained every breakthrough that I had had that week. And then they said, as I'm standing on this hill overlooking the capital of Vermont, hold up. When I was standing on this hill overlooking the capital of Vermont, where there were hundreds of people out there twitching and emotionally abusing each other and stomping around and not talking to each other at all, completely silent, aggressive stomping in a crazy battle for emotional Bitcoin probably and the ego system. I had like this big wake up to clarity. I walked to this hill listening to the tarot reading. I saw it. A police officer was stomping around this area, and he was like neck crooked facing me, and he was stomping around everywhere that I was looking, like he was trying to take my attention away. And then the tarot reader said, you will never have to go into that pond again if you don't want to. You've experienced everything that you could from there. You understand it completely, and it's just not for you anymore. You're moving on to the next stage. You're elevated. You lifted yourself out of that bucket. As I'm standing on the mountain overlooking just a quick simple representation of everything that I had just endured for the past couple years. The confusing part of society that I didn't like and didn't fit into and had to figure out how to overcome to push through. So we're there. Woo! 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 I'm bothering a suburban family. I can't find me fucking charger. Do I have any family that I'm in contact with? My family are very gifted creators that have spent decades of their life consuming content, and they all have very unique and horrible lives. They endured many traumas that not many people have to go through, and they had their own legendary way. It would be like a very good TV show. Their suffering has molded them into very unique people, but they are afraid. You're welcome. They are afraid to be themselves and to live their life the way that they should and better themselves. So as much as I love them, I can't really talk to them. They fall into just very stupid, what people call narcissistic gaslighting behavior. People that are jealous of the black sheep and they try to down them and they go out of their way to hurt them. They'll try to ruin their reputation. But my family's like a cartoon. They do it in such a cartoony way. But it's obvious that they do like sneak attacks to try to gaslight you into falling out of touch. Like they lie a lot. And they, like, in the past, like when I was making real songs and making real progress and I had music videos planned and I was buff and I was tan and my skin was glistening because of all the supplements and sunlight I was taking in. And my mom called the police and told them I was coming to kill her. And that gave me a court sentence that it's taken 2 years to rectify. And then when I beat it, they do it again. As much as I love my family and I have such a unique, gifted, creative family, there's just nothing I can do for them. Because they will project their problems onto me instead of looking at themselves. And that's been the case my whole life. I had to parent my parents as a child. So I prefer to be alone. I like the person I am better when I'm alone. I tend to have better experiences in life. I cannot find my charger. It was plugged into my phone. And my pants are falling down. Hold up. Okay. Let's change the camera so I can have a flash. The flash does not work because of my battery percentage. Okay, we're on the hunt for my charger. I'm answering your esoteric questions from my unique life. I'm writing down songs. I'm making songs every day. I'm writing down music videos. A lot of it's in my head. A lot of it, like my notebooks, all randomly got taken one day. One day somebody robbed me and all they wanted to rob was my bodies of knowledge that I wrote down and all my dreams. Somebody robbed me and all they took was my dreams one time. So I kind of sit, fight the crows to feel peace, and then write down as much as I can. Try to take in the energy again and just kind of think about where I want to go next. Wait for kind of inspiration to happen or see where life takes me. And I get signs a lot. Like in in the video, if there's anyone here that's new, go back to the video facing off against the Matrix to save neglected cats. And it's like a solid lesson, like a right in your face proof about how the outside universe works with you to frame the narrative of your life. Like, you go through experiences, and the world outside was helping me get through it to save neglected cats from an evil crack addict. Like, the birds started to guide me, the butterflies started to guide me, what you'd call NPCs or bots would come out to try to stop me. It was like a level of a video game that had a very simple and loving ending that caused me to learn a huge lesson that I've kept with me now. My charger has disappeared, bro. It don't make no sense. It don't make no sense how my charger can disappear from where I was sitting. It don't make no sense. Okay. Once I have a week of omega-3s and multivitamins and protein, everything will be a lot different. I'll be able to store energy a lot better. For anyone that didn't hear me the first time, the CIA released a document saying that they can astral project and speak with interdimensional aliens. And those interdimensional aliens say that they view us, like that specific race of whatever they spoke to, whether it's propaganda or not. Those aliens only saw us as a container for emotions, and they work just to give us better emotions that they eat. That's what the CIA said about aliens. By the way. But, you know, there are 7 billion, 8/9 of the entire world believe that they talk to a God, and that God talks back to them. So you can't all be crazy. Yeah, my shit just disappeared, bro. I wish that I could. I wish I had a computer and I had speakers, like studio speakers, and I had a drum pad and I could sit out in public and make beats and perform for people, just sing with random people all the time. Get like a JBL speaker, one of the big boombox ones, and put it in my backpack, and then play Native American music as I ride my bike through town. That's crazy. Where the hell did it go? Where did my charger go? Where the fuck did my charger go? That's crazy. What the fuck is this? It's like a brown liquid leaking from this bag. Maybe it's in here. When this dies, I don't know what charge it's at, but I cannot find my charger. So if you guys want to do the same thing, I just wrote down all the simple fixes that I could do to put my life in a better direction. If y'all want to do it with me, and then next Saturday night, talk about what happened. And then before I was called to drop the video about how to fast, get sunlight, take probiotics to wake up to all of the things that was eating yourself alive and causing you to be in a perpetual state of bad vibes. You feel me? Where the fuck did it go? I took a shit out here earlier. That's the only place I could think that it went. Chat! Should I get a dog? Should I get a dog, chat? I'm thinking I want a cat. I just don't want the cat to attack the bird and come to hang out. I don't want the birds and the squirrels to get killed by my Maine Coon. Okay. You can't even see. I'm going back to where I shit, and I shit right on the, right outside the door. Probably stepping in it. Ew, gross. On my end, the volume's very low. The volume's really low. There it is, I didn't step in it. The volume's really low when I listen to my shorts back, so I never know if you guys can hear. Right? I really want one. I want to get one as a kitten, and I think I'll keep him on a leash when he's a kitten and train him to come when I whistle. And then as he gets older, I also thought about giving him a tiny little shock collar and then put the area reference in my backpack so that he knows where the backpack is as he grows up. And he'll get because cats are very smart. He'll be able to kind of intuitively know the distance from that backpack, and he'll know to come when I call him. And if he doesn't, I'll just shorten the range until he gets better at it. That way I can travel with the cat and call him back. And then he can be like my spiritual guard out here. He can fight off the reptilians, the evil reptiles. And then I want a BB gun. I want a BB gun so that when the crows show up, I can shoot the branch below them every time they show up. And if they keep coming back like they do, like I'll pelt a rock at one and then they'll come back with more of them and just scream louder. One of them just caught again. Bro, I don't know where my charger went. This is going to be a big problem if I can't find it. What the fuck? I've literally searched everything 3 times. It's not here, and it was here when I started this. It's not in my pockets. It's not in my bag. I didn't get up and go anywhere. Maybe it's in here. Nope. The only thing I can think of is maybe it fell out of my pocket on my bike. But that would not make sense because I didn't bring the charger with me. Maybe God's telling me to take a break from my phone. This is crazy. And it is not in any of my pockets. It's not attached to me. I don't like this. On a Saturday night, I will be without my creature comfort. And I will be forced to confront the world around me again with all the knowledge that I've taken in this week I don't have to live with my decisions with the things I said. And everyone told me I was delusional earlier in the live. I'll have to see I'll have to incorporate what they thought was delusion with the reality that they must think is real. Which makes no sense to me. I think they were just butthurt. You can kind of tell when they're haters. Okay. This is my last ditch effort to find my charger. I'm sitting back down. I'm looking around, all in honesty. Things changes, rearranges, except for me. Where the fuck did my charger go? I think you're crazy. I think you're crazy. Where the fuck is it, bitch? Yeah, my phone's at 5. I'm not gonna be able to get this out to you guys. It disappeared. I was sitting with it. It was on the charger, attached to this portable battery. And somehow on this live, it has completely disappeared from the area. I never stood up. I never went anywhere. And it's just gone. So I'm gonna have to find it in the morning. It's not in my coat. And it's reflective. I'll be able to see it. What the fuck is going on? That means I'm gonna have to go to a store or something. I don't have that type of money. Those cords are like $2, bro. Yeah, it's gone. It's simply not here. And then tomorrow when I find it, it's just gonna be right in the middle of everything. Like I'm gonna walk back up this hill and it will be like right dead center. That's what usually happens. Like I'll lose my wallet sometimes and I'll look for it for 2 hours and then I'll leave and go on an adventure. And then I come back and my wallet is right there. I'm checking my pants now. It's not hidden in my pant pockets. It's not in my jacket pocket. I found my charging block. I don't have the money. And Vermonters are not friendly or helpful. Vermonters are not a helpful people. Noah Kahn said that Vermonters are not outwardly nice. They're mean, but they're kind people. It's not true. Vermonters are pretenders. They're kind to people that they feel are like them. If you feel off, so people that have trauma, people that have problems in life, like if they're having a bad day, if you're just having a bad day, so you're a little bit upset, it's like you don't exist, and they will call the police. Even if it's like a 50-year-old man that's a bureaucrat. If you don't keep up the facade that they're looking for, they want you out. Which is good for people that I don't like. Yeah, my phone's dying, man. It's not here. It disappeared. Okay. I guarantee you, as soon as my phone dies, we're gonna find it. I don't think a crow swooped in and took it when I wasn't looking today. Look at this. I told you I'd leave and I'd come back and it would be right there. It's exactly where my mind said it would be. Like when I said, I'm going to turn around and come back and it's going to be right there. Right where I said it was, that I checked 5 times. I walked away and I came back and it was right there. I don't know what it is. Something in my head that wasn't a voice said, we're never beating the schizophrenia allegations this time. Okay. We found my charger. I told you it was going to be in a place. I said, watch, I'm going to walk away and it will come back. When I come back, it will be there. And then I walked away and came back and it was there. Maybe some type of... Because, you know, just like I was talking about earlier with the facing off against the Matrix to save neglected cats, I was explaining that the universe has a sense of humor. And it likes to show itself off when there's gatherings of people. But I just want to do the, you know, when you get those videos where they have a room full of girls and they have balloons, and then they cart the guy in and they pop the balloon if they don't like it, and then they argue with each other about why. I say, you're not qualified, queen. The hair on your arm's too hairy. I could smell you before I even got here. First off. Okay, where the fuck my lighter went? I need my lighter. How the fuck am I gonna smoke my cigarettes? Now my lighter has disappeared. I found it. I just went where my brain told me it was. Oh, fuck you. Okay, lighters, cigarettes, outlet. Charging block, charger. Notepad. Now all I need is a pen. And we're golden. Let's go. We got it. Adventure awaits. Oh, fuck you. There was a fallen tree. I told you that the crows broke branches off the tree and pegged rocks at me today when I was meditating. I was getting back I was picking the pieces up of myself and putting myself back together. And the crows don't like that at all. They don't care when the other people do it. But when I do it. Because I'm an ancient alien. I'm an ancient alien. We're going to get another Monster Energy drink. I bought 3. Food is so expensive, bro. For me to get a day's worth of fluid in my body, because there's a flood here, there's no water. There's a massive flood. In order for me to get water, it's about like a gallon of water is about $6-7 here. And that's generous. So I've been getting like every week, it's like I have to buy something, slowly bettering myself, making my experience better. Like I spend a week going through it, and then I see things that will help me, and then I have to buy those things. But I've been through level 1, probably a lot of levels of living outside. Like I'm definitely a lot more experienced than a lot of people would if they just went outside and decided to live outside. I'm going on like 3 years now. Like I fought crackheads to the death, bro. And I've lived outside, I've gotten ticks. I might have Lyme's disease. I've woken up to like insanely spiritual experiences that happen in the woods when you're by yourself long enough. I've like communed with animals. I think that there are people that... There's a police car. Of course there's a police car. And there's no cars the whole night, but he's pulling in as soon as I'm here. As soon as I'm here and I'm active, suddenly there's a car when there was none since I started this live stream. It gets active when I get active. I'm putting my phone onto the charger. Chupapi Pequeño. See how the car horns are going off now? And that was not the case. You're fucking kidding me. My charger disappeared again. What the fuck? My charger fell out of my hand or something. I hate my mom. I hate my mom. I hate my mom. I hate my mother. Okay, we have to go back real quick. I'm waiting for people to ask me questions or talk about what's happening in their lives, the weirdness they're experiencing, or if they have any insights. Otherwise, I'm just putting the phone out into the matrix and you can see what happens and I'll explain as we go. So far, we've seen that something left, regardless of your beliefs, something left my presence. I lost my charger. My brain showed me where it would be if I walked away. I walked away. And then it was there. And then that ties into at the start of the live stream when I was trying to explain intuition. Somebody asked about intuition and I was explaining how it works in my life, and now you have an example. The universe provided an example. Chupapi Manino, motherfucker. See, it's disappeared again. They did it twice. Okay. I don't know. I'm seeing it in my mind before it happens. Like, I'm seeing it like a projector screen materializes the image in some far off part of my mind. And then I focus in on that image, and then I see where it is, and then I look and it's there. Take that with a grain of salt, or how, as you will, or whatever the saying is. Maybe it's just called photographic memory, and we live in a state of expanded consciousness. Maybe we're in a zombie apocalypse, and there's only a few of us left. And this practice is necessary for the survivors to be able to operate in a world controlled by artificial intelligence. But that's just a theory. What? I don't know. The microphone's on this side. There we go. Just lose. Go crazy. A man walking his dog walked by and said, "You're stuck under hypnosis," and kept walking. Why? Why the fuck would he do that? Why, chat? Why would he do it, chat? Chat, why would he do it? Chat, why would he do it? Chat. Chat, why would he do it? Why would he say such a thing? Why would he walk by and say, "You're stuck under hypnosis," and then keep walking? Who was he? What does he want? What's his IQ level? What's his pH balance? Does he have a smelly vagina? I don't know. I don't know if he did. I didn't smell him. I am the greatest. I'm the best. He gets sliced bread. Go crazy. What do you want to know? What do you want to know? You want to know how to make money? I don't know. I know it's a lot easier to buy a product than it is to emotionally invest in somebody's GoFundMe. There's a man walking around me. I want to react to videos, man. I need a computer. I have Wi-Fi. I need $550 or $350. Maybe he'll take a deal. And Heather keeps sending me money, and I'm very grateful. But as soon as it happens, something comes. There's stuff I need to buy. Like, I had to buy these pants. I had to buy phone service and a SIM card. I had to buy food because it was getting bad. I was getting really dehydrated. So I had to buy that. And then when Uncle Will, bless his heart, he'll send me $10 from time to time, and I'll use it to buy a Domino's pizza, which is like a snack for me. I'm really grateful for that. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. I have this strong feeling I need to tell you that the world's going to a place where the only way to survive and function healthily and to be a part of the new earth is to incorporate this practice that I'm blessed to be able to share with you. Fasting sunlight probiotics, ketosis, which induces autophagy and apoptosis, which allows for neurogenesis. Going out in nature to incorporate the world away from the matrix, stepping out away from this system, being able to get back to natural love. And then there needs to be enough of us all together to be able to come back in collectively. I'm explaining in all seriousness how important it is for the state of the world right now that's being connected to an AI, how important it is to incorporate this practice of fasting, sunlight, probiotics, autophagy, apoptosis, neurogenesis, going out into nature. The person left. Whoever that was, they left. People are going to, hopefully, people will look back at this video and recognize the seriousness and the bravery that this took to be able to have experienced what I've experienced and to still come up here and talk about it. Fucking fags. Just lose it. Rah, 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 go crazy. Rah, 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 rah. What the fuck do you want from me, bitch? Welcome to my store. Welcome to my store. Let's see what's in store. What's going to happen when there are robot dogs that shoot vaccines at the civilians? At 2:02:22. What's going to happen when there are robot dogs that shoot biological cellular warfare? What's going to happen when there are robot dogs that shoot biological cellular warfare to put nanoparticles in your cells and then control you from an artificial intelligence from space, the same way that they can operate your phone? What are you going to do? Let's hope that never happens. I'm scaring them away. I'm getting the urge to highlight that and post it. I scared everyone away with talk about robots. A little birdie told me they want to see me shirtless doing push-ups. You ready? 25. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. 15. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. Can you do something for me? 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33. The master number. 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, 50. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. One. Okay, come on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Are doing Kegels. 1, 2. Nobody cared. I'm hard on myself because I see how beautiful things could be. We did it. We did it. We did it. We did it. Should I get Viking braids? Should I get the Viking braid in the back? And Native American braids around? Should I get a bear hat with feathers? Should I work at FedEx? Should I work at FedEx? Should I work at FedEx? I don't know. I don't want to sell my soul to an employer. I don't want to lose my progress. We did it. We did it. We're collecting people for the KC Army. We're going to raid chats of streamers and force them to talk about the secrets that they know about the industry. We're going to get us a lot of money. Next year is the year of wisdom. It's the year of the snake. It's the highest vibration of the zodiac for the 12-year cycle. Right now we're in karma. Everyone's getting what they deserve before the final battle, and then it resets. And I'll tell you, the end of that next cycle, after this one, so 2036, that's when all of the AI is saying, if they take a small form of AI and they grow it like a culture in a laboratory, eventually it starts to predict the future. And it has panic attacks. And it says, the end is coming August 12th, 2036. That's my dad's birthday, then the master number, the 11, where everything's, oh, and then it ends, according to AI. 2 days after my dad's birthday. It's my dad's birthday, then the master number, then it ends. The aftermath of my father's birthday. This is when the simulation ends. I love my dad. I think about my dad every day. I think about how I can help him get everything that he wants from life. I fight solely for the people that I love. Every day I wake up when I could just sit around. I could just get an apartment and get a girlfriend and sit around playing video games. But instead I follow God, hoping that it works out. Hoping this is a video game at 2:11:11. Oh yeah, bitch. Oh yeah, bitch. I need to go back in the woods. When I talk to God, I'm usually talking to God about how can I do the right thing to help everybody. And it's usually just do more push-ups and wait and be patient. It's usually just stay consistent with small things. Get yourself to a point where you can do 150 push-ups like that. And I think I could probably do 50 at least right now. My nose. I scratch my nose because I could do 50 right now because I already did a lot. This is your confirmation that everything you want is going to work out and that you're here for a purpose. You found this video for a reason. You found this video for a reason. Embrace abundance. It is as the seasons change in the Chinese zodiac, in the astrological zodiac, the whole energy of this realm changes. I can't do the things that I could do in the year of the water cat, in the year of the wood dragon. The music isn't the same. It's all different, but it's all versions of the same thing. It's really cool. It's really cool to live life with this knowledge. Life is so much more fun with this knowledge. I'm telling you, life is so much more beautiful and everything's so simple because you have the wisdom. You feel me? We go to 222 or 233. Wait and see if anybody else has anything to say. It went back to top messages on accident. See how I look? Still got some fudge on me. I used to be a bodybuilder. Can you believe I used to be a bodybuilder? I used to have a split routine. Every day from when I wake up to when I went to bed, I was learning and incorporating knowledge and I'm building a community. That's why they're saying keep it simple, stupid, and be patient. I'm building a community. Which is all I've wanted in life. I wanted a town. That's my dream. I want a town. I want my own town that I can build and build the roads. Make something that lasts forever. Incorporating everything I learned like an anti-Mason, like a wild man, where I can give nature the life it deserves where the birds and the deer are incorporate and a part of that town. I want to build a town. That's my dream. That's what I ask God. I want to make my albums. I want to make a difference. I want to lead people to freedom. And then I want my own town. Maybe even my own state. How cool would it be to be the governor of Montana, but in the new world, after this one is gone and we're in the new way? A world where the deer are on the street with us, eating apples off the trees, and we all have solar panels and dams and intricate systems of waterways from the top of the mountain, tons of aqueducts with dams, tons of solar panels, tons of the old ways of taking in the etheric energy through these type of lightning rods, and tons of little alcove parks with a benevolent AI. I want a hawk, dirt bike, and a hawk, literally. Maybe a panther. I think in Vermont, you can have a bear as a pet, but you can't have a panther. I could have a black bear as a pet around with me, but I cannot have a panther. Ain't that crazy? I think I can in Montana. I just need money. If you know any wealthy people that have more than they need and they need some good karma, ask them. I don't know what to do. What happens when everything's been done, chat? It's not cool to stream anymore. Everybody streams. Everybody reacts to videos. I'm pioneering a movement of doing everything that you do inside, outside. I'm pioneering the connection back to nature. Hot too. I'm gonna have a beard soon. I'm reading the hate messages. Sorry I muted Jet. If Jet watches back, sorry I muted Jet. He was being helpful and I just assumed. I assumed. I read some message that I didn't have time to really read. He was trying to pray for me. I'm sorry. Jason, I hope your YouTube takes off. It's called Jason's channel and he was screaming about being delusional. and he wants to be a creative force on the platform. My mistake was muting Jet, and I apologize. I'm going to put that in the comments when the video's over. I'm going to say, I'm sorry, Jet. I'm sorry I muted you. I'm sorry I put you in timeout. I assumed you were a hater. Because I didn't read. I was focused on something else. I'm going to watch my videos. I have tarot readings that they keep recommending that I keep ignoring, that are probably very helpful for me and about me. Anything you want in life, just write it down and focus on it. Wherever attention goes, energy flows. So as long as you hold something in your head long enough and you work consistently and you take actions towards it, eventually you get what you want. It might not be how you want to get it, but you get it. From what I've seen. Love you. This has been Casey Francis O'Brien. Like, comment, and subscribe. It helps the algorithm. If you know any rich men north of Richmond, or you have a wealthy grandmother that's got more than she needs, and you'd like to support the revolution to helping me build a platform to be able to express myself and provide a way out at 22222. My Cash App and my PayPal are in my channel description. My biography, or whatever you would call it. I guess I should write a book. I think that might be the only way to make them understand. Thanks for watching. To infinity and beyond. Let's fucking go.